Klobuchar.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I think that sentiment that Senator Hawley expressed that many of us feel about the bills that have come through the committee and the work that we've done. We know that one bill that did pass that you noted, Ms. Coffrin, thank you, was the Take It Down Act that I authored with Senator Cruz, signed into law by President Trump. And as you know, that criminalizes the distribution of and threats to distribute non-consensual intimate images, whether they are AI created or real. And I would also add, to echo some of my colleagues, particularly Senator Graham, that it's long past time to repeal Section 230. At the beginning of his efforts on that front, I had thought, well, no, maybe we can put in these rules in place and the tech companies will work with us, and that just hasn't happened. The opposite has happened. And as we approach this 30-year anniversary, maybe it's time to do a major assessment, which takes for any parent about 1 minute, to realize the harm that has been caused by all of this. I'd start with you, Ms. Woods. Thank you for your moving testimony. Can you talk about why even the threat of non-consensual distribution of explicit images can be tragic, and why it's so vital that the law covers threats, as the Take It Down Act does, as well as reality?
So it's a number of things. First of all, our children aren't just handing out the nudes. They are being coerced into providing them with in regards to creating safe spaces and different things of that sort. Once the threat behind the nude comes, it's not just the nude being in existence, it's all of the threats behind it, to where they're questioning what they're actually doing, and they're becoming desperate and willing to do whatever they can to get rid of that image. It is embarrassing to them. We tell kids all the time, if you put it on the internet, it won't go away. My son in particular was threatened. He was actually slated to be #1 in the state of Ohio in 110 hurdles. And they told him he would never run track again. They told him he would be labeled a pedophile because he was under 18, and they did have a nude photo of him. It becomes far more than the embarrassment of the actual picture, but the actual torture that comes after the picture.
Right.
And so by them being able to take it down as an option, it takes a weight off of them. And they are able to address all the other issues that come after it. But once we take that photo away, then we can battle everything else. And I think that helps them with that.
Thank you. Thank you. And as you know, Ms. Coffrin, the Take It Down Act gives victims not only the rights with regard to the people doing this, but the rights to demand that the social media platforms take these images down. I wrote a piece today in the New York Times about AI and just how important it is to allow the states to keep doing their work while we're waiting on the leadership to bring up these bills for a vote. I just believe that if you are not going to do anything federally, you better do something in the states, but also that you've got to hold these platforms liable. And could you talk about that?
Sure. The biggest threat that children face is not necessarily a criminal justice proceeding or the fear of what's going to be happening next. They just want their images down. So the threats that these bad actors are using against them is actually a recirculation of the same diatribes that we've been telling children for years in a prevention type method. Don't do this action, or once it's out there, it's always out there and you'll never get it back. That has to change. The Take It Down Act changes that significantly by requiring that company to within 48 hours to be able to be removing that. Children need to know that they have that right for that content to come down, so that the threat to recirculate, there's power taken away from that and the child gets that power back. So that act is really revolutionary, because historically what we've seen is companies taking a week, 2 week, sometimes non-removals at all. And the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children publishes our data about the companies that we send notices for, those companies that take it down, how long it takes them to take it down, and which companies choose not to. All that information is public, and we're trying to make sure that people can find that and are aware.
That'll be very, very helpful for all of us. Ms. Mueller, a short question here, little related but different topic. Senator Blackburn and I introduced the National Human Trafficking Database Act to establish a National Human Trafficking Database at the DOJ's Office for Victims of Crime. to incentivize states to report data, a little bit along the lines of what we're hearing from Ms. Coffrin on the Take It Down bill. Can you talk about the data sharing in this area and how it can empower law enforcement to protect victims of human trafficking?
Yes, thank you, Senator. Human traffickers move victims across state lines all the time. That's how they make money. That is how they get more victims by crossing state lines. So having nationwide data for law enforcement is invaluable to be able to talk to their colleagues in different states, to get information on different traffickers, on victims. We try to rescue victims all the time. So without that data, you can't do that.
Senator